Hi, and welcome to another ISOOSI chat, our regular Tuesday roundtable hangout about search, social, and all things marketing. I'm Carlos Fernandez, president of ISOOSI, and we're going to do another website clinic, if you will, today. I think I called it an autopsy last week, but really is a clinic. And we're going to be doing a couple of websites, and anybody in the audience that wants to post in the comments for us to take a quick look at theirs, either now, this week, or next time we do one of these, please do go ahead and post it in the comments. So we have no Bill Slawski today, he's at SMX, but we have Amon Johns, our regular expert on search marketing and all things marketing. And we also have Eric Stafford, ISOOSI's creative director. So, guys, we're gonna small crew today, small panel, but we're gonna look at a couple of websites. If I can just do my screen share. One of them is, and like always, we try and focus these things on small businesses. Just bear with me 1 minute. Okay. So you should see the website here for Wins Market. Eric, do you want to just give a little kind of discussion about what this business is, where it is? Because I know you went to see them and you've been there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Carlos, just a heads up, all I'm really seeing right now is the ISOOSI icon, our favorite little professor there. I'm not seeing what you're sharing on your screen. I wanted to let you know that. Are you?
Yeah.
Cool. Very good. Okay, so yeah, Wins Market is in Naples, Florida, here by where our Southwest Florida offices are. And my wife Wendy and I were actually in Naples running some errands, and we had a couple of meetings with clients. And we wandered by this market, and we went in, and they just have an absolutely amazing assortment of really, really cool gourmet foods. They have a really big deli, really rare cheeses, lots of awesome olive oils. And it dawned on me pretty much immediately, these guys are probably really hurting from the Whole Foods that opened up the road about 4 years ago. And, you know, I better give these guys a call. We better call them up and see, you know, where they're at and if they need any help with their website. So Wendy took a look at their website, and it definitely had a couple things that we saw that we thought they could use some help with. And so Wendy approached them and set up a meeting, and it looks like we'll probably be doing some work with them. So that's Wins Market.
Cool, yeah. And gives you a little bit of insight as to how Eric and Wendy work for us as well at the agency in terms of always seeing opportunities. But yeah, they've obviously been, how long have they been around, Eric? It's like 35, or is it even longer than that?
Yeah, I think it's even longer than that, Carlos. They're one of the first markets, one of the first grocery stores in Naples, and it really is an amazing place. And that really was what kind of got me about it, and I'm sure what would have gotten you and also Ammon is that, you know, everyone was super friendly. All the employees were saying, hey, how you doing? Do you need anything? And I actually talked with the butcher, and he said he'd worked there for something like 25 years. He'd worked there his entire adult life, and just a lot of very loyal employees that were all kind of speaking a consistent message of happiness and helpfulness, and, you know, really a cool business. Really a cool business.
Yeah, cool. So, well, we'll get into the look and feel of the aesthetics of it as well, because, you know, if we end up redesigning this, obviously we're going to want to get a traditional, you know, something that makes people know that they've been around and that kind of tradition. But, yeah, I mean, obviously we're finding, if we just look at it from a website perspective, I know Amon's probably looking at the code already. Yeah. Just some things that strike me straight away. Somehow or other, I've navigated away from the home page, and then now I'm trying to get back by clicking it on the home page, and oh, there we go. So when I'm on the contact page, we've got a broken link that goes here to home, and it says we're sorry. So I don't know if, so basically the navigation is not consistent throughout the website. If you go, again,
Carlos, yeah, it's like that on a bunch of the pages, buddy. If you go to About Us and then click Home, it does it as well.
And where would I find about when I want it? Oh, store info, history.
It's up right at the top in the white area in the header.
Got it.
above the black bar.
So if you go to About Us and then where?
And then click the home button in the nav.
Yeah. So yeah, we've got obviously programmatical issues. I mean, I don't know. Do you want to start off a little bit about the look and feel first before we get into the SEO and the code side of it?
Yeah. Let's start with the obvious. It's a nice, clean green colour. It's always good for food. It promotes freshness and nature. Always good things for selling. The font sizes are a real issue. It's very small, print type font. It gives us the sense of a newspaper, but it's very hard to read on screen. And usability testing over the years has shown us that we already read 25% slower online on a screen than we do from paper. So this is going to be more difficult to read than it really needs to be. It should be definitely a larger, clearer font, because at the moment, well, I'd hate to be needing glasses and then faced with this, especially if I was on a small screen.
I'm not a big fan of this kind of whether it's Times or Georgia or whatever it is, but I'm a kind of a big fan of the new kind of Google fonts and Open Sans, and before that everything always used to be Verdana for us because of readability. But this, I think it's either yeah, you go, Georgia. I was right. So yeah, it's not my favorite font at all for online reading. I know Eric's done a lot of kind of work on that in the past in terms of what fonts and colors and things like that, but it isn't very readable, is it, Eric?
No, it's, overall, when you look at the site, it just looks like it was designed in the 90s, right? I can't really explain it any better than that, but it's got that kind of fixed 800 by 600 squared off look that we're all familiar with from way back in the day when websites were built on computers that ran on coal, right? It just kind of has an older look, and some of the audience members that have joined us for the Hangout, William Rock has mentioned, get rid of the banners on the right. What do you guys think of that? I think that it really kind of detracts from the professionalism. I mean, keep in mind, this is like a Whole Foods. This is like, $100 bottles of olive oil.
Yeah, what I think William's referring to, or whoever's posted that, is these AdSense. They've got Google AdSense
on the right.
So,
yep.
Yeah. Now, if you're a blog, or I mean, it all depends on the type of business that you are. If you are a local business, with a physical, brick and mortar location, and you're our opinion would be to not have additional advertising, things like that. Sorry, but did you want me to show something, Amon?
Yeah, going back to the 90s design, absolutely it is. The minute I looked in the code, I saw something, I used to see all the time. I'm seeing Dreamweaver code. So this was created in Dreamweaver. There's the function which is Macromedia. So this is a Dreamweaver built site. So yeah, late 90s, very early 2000s. And it's a classic old site. I wouldn't say that design is a huge issue. These used to work in the day, they can still work today. Yeah, there's better practices. Yes, it's definitely going to make it look a little bit blocky. But I think sometimes when you're selling something traditional, it's not bad to look a little bit old.
Yeah.
But definitely that newspaper type font, far too small, far too fussy. Not enough space between the lines, so it's very, very difficult to read. And an increasingly older generation, you really are looking at minimum 12-point font sizes. That looks more like a 10, maybe even smaller than that. I'd blow that right up.
Right. So we've got fonts going, basically readability, usability and readability. The fonts up here on this kind of subnav, if you will, is way too small. I don't like the fonts on this navigation, and the navigation itself is, not very, not nice from a visual perspective. So yeah, I mean, you know, in my opinion, these images just don't work together as well. You got like I don't know if that's clip art or an illustration, and then just a stock thing of a platter of kind of different foods and some sushi. I don't know. I'd like to see a lot better, more striking imagery up there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this is a business that built its business on, face-to-face, one-on-one interactions with their customers, right? And, I think they built a website because they kind of saw that everyone else had one and it was time. And I don't think they've done a whole lot with it since. And it just doesn't reflect the sort of really special, really warm experience that you get when you shop there. And I think that goes through the images, the fonts, the layout, the datedness of it, the dated look of it. They sell an enormous number of gift baskets, right? They're in Naples, and so they work with a lot of out-of-towners that kind of come into town for season in Naples and in Marco Island, which are pretty, affluent neighborhoods. So there's lots of businesses that kind of are giving other people gift baskets or stocking fridges for people when they come down, and they get a ton of business that way, I would guess. They sell a lot of gift baskets, and they'd love to be able, I'm sure, to sell their gift baskets online, but right now it's just 10 images of gift baskets or whatever it is. And so I think there's a lot of room for improvement for Wynn's Market.
In the footer of every page, we've also got a link to the developers, which is a live link. It's not no-followed in any way. There's nothing determining a relationship. That, to be honest, these days I would either no-follow or at least put in, a more specific kind of link. Usually what I'd do to get the link value still is have on the About page a bit about the site itself and who develops it. That would be the one live link on the site to the developer, and the footer would simply link to that About page section.
And the link is wrong as well. It's a broken link for me.
Yeah.
Oy.
Yeah, they went out of business. That was another local Naples company. So yeah, I mean, and just above it, another no. If you're gonna try to keep your copyright. I mean, it seems like a small thing, and programmatically, that most of the newer websites and CMSs do it automatically for you. But try not to have copyright 2003 or 2004 down there. You're just asking for Google to kind of pass it by.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But again, what I'm on this saying is, if you can, if you're the developer and you're developing sites, let's just put ourselves in the other shoe, and you want to have a credit at the bottom. What I'm saying is, maybe discuss it with the client and see whereabouts it would be appropriate. I personally wouldn't put it on the About page, but what we've done in the past is have something on the sitemap that says credits or whatever, or and then that would go to a credits page where if there was a photographer involved, if there was a not just the web designer, but whoever was involved with the project gets a mention on that credits page. But work it out with the client before you go and put a link at the bottom, without even asking them.
Yeah, because it wouldn't be doing the developer any favor to have a site-wide footer link anyway. That is one of the things that Panda does look for and discount, and sometimes the way it discounts it is heavier than the value of the link was worth, so it can actually hurt you to have these kind of footer links on your client sites.
Right. Before we go into any more SEO stuff, what Eric, have you got any thoughts about what, having been there, is there anything that they could kind of, like we talk about highlight areas and call to actions, and it seems to me like the home delivery thing would be, knowing how lazy I am, that sounds good to me.
Yeah, the home delivery thing is really, really cool. The gift baskets that I was talking about a little bit ago are also really cool. And in terms of engagement, and I'm guessing Ammon would agree with me on this, I'd love to see video interviews with some of their employees that have been there for 20 or 30 or 40 years. It really kind of highlights what they're all about. And if they just paid a professional photographer to come in and spend a half a day and take maybe 200 really, really nice photos of people laughing and stocking the shelves and helping customers and making the baskets, this website would be a whole different experience.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna have pictures of gift baskets, personally, I would put them behind a. I don't know if they've done that to try to make them pop out more, but I would put it against a white or a pastel background. I mean, it looks like, gifts from Doomville.
Yeah, we went
Uh,
through that with celebrations in the Cayman Islands, didn't we? With some of their print stuff, it looks so much better on white, doesn't it?
yeah.
You know, guys, the other thing I noticed is that they do have a link to their Facebook page on that home page on the left, kind of opposite side from the
On the
Google
homepage,
ads.
yeah, and I never saw it. It was a subtle one, right?
Yeah, it's a big, giant, juicy Facebook button on the left-hand side, about halfway down the page. My thoughts on this are, and you and I have talked about this with a lot of different clients, Carlos, and yeah, I'd love to hear what Ammon thinks about this. I mean, social media is hugely important, but if you're not going to update your account, you're better off not having the link there. I think that if you present people with empty shelves, they're never going to shop, and that was my experience from retail, and that's kind of been my experience with social. Ammon, do you have anything you want to add in there? Because I know you think you believe in this. You think this is important.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. Nobody's really engaging with the Facebook page. They're not doing anything there. This is the kind of thing where every week you should be doing whatever is your major social media platform. Do a special code or a special promotion which only goes out through that channel. It then gives people a reason to follow and like that channel because there's something there. And even if, not every week is it something for them, if every month there is something they buy that's on a special, or there's a special discount, or there's a special promotion that they can only get through that page, then of course they're going to keep going, they're going to keep interested, they're going to keep watching that page, and that's how you can use that kind of outreach. I absolutely agree with you on the video thing, and there's so many opportunities for this, and not just, the ordinary little pieces. But when you're talking about a deli, when you're talking about, the butcher, when you're talking about the wines, having somebody who's in store, who's been there a while, who knows this stuff, talking passionately about this. These are not just employees who are stacking shelves. These are people who love this job and have been doing it a long time. That expertise comes across.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's huge. I mean, if you have a smiling young lady saying, hey, our special cheese this week is Taleggio. It's a raw milk cheese from the northern part of Italy, and it goes great with grapes. And, since you're following us on Facebook, here's 10% off. They're going to do great. I love that. Absolutely love it.
Exactly, and I mean, you can do things like they can print off things that graphics that you post up there as a voucher to take in. Don't be afraid to also do that via mobile, where you can send smart codes and things like that to people's phones and get them to come in, because mobile is increasingly, especially with things like this where it does serve a community and it's within a radius, those mobile apps are all important, and the mobile connections are all important.
Where is it? Is it located pretty easy? Like, is it pretty easy to get to in Naples? I don't know whereabouts it is personally. Sorry, you muted. Can you hear him? Amon?
You've got the map there. No, he's still muted. There we go. No.
Eric's,
okay, lost Eric's sound.
Are you there, Eric? Eric? Oh, we seem to have lost Eric. Well, we'll hopefully you'll be able to chime in a minute. But yeah,
guys,
let's.
Can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, we can hear you now. Cool.
Sorry, my mic is having issues. I apologize, guys. Yeah, they're right on US 41, which is the main north-south road through the heart of Naples, and they're pretty close to like the Fifth Third area. I'd say they're probably about a mile up the road on the left. So they're in a great location. The problem is they just look like another store. If you didn't know how special it was, you've heard of Whole Foods, you would go right up the road to Whole Foods, right? Because Whole Foods is great.
Yeah, that was the reason that I brought it up. Is with me, I kind of need to see. So just say that they're near that big junction. It sounds like they are on 41. I mean, that's a pretty well-trafficked spot. You could have some kind of call out on the homepage that just showed a real kind of zoomed in area, so that, you know, if I go somewhere, I need to kind of know. I'm just one of these people where when it's a local store, I need to know where I'm going. You can tell me the name of a road, I'm just not gonna know. But if you show me visually an intersection, I'm a lot more likely to get up, get up and go there.
That's another thing you bring up there, which is really good. I would personally, for this kind of business, this is exactly where I would call in one of the Google photographers who can do the inside shots, and it all turns up in Google Local, where it's, you know, got the 3D view of the store that you can walk around. That's going to be very good for a company like this, where you can see those shelves, you can see the staff, you can get that whole experience, and it's all promoted through Google.
Is that something that people can call up for, Amon? Like,
yeah. What Google's done is they've licensed lots of photographers, given them the training and tools and software to basically go out and do this as a service on their own. So it's a syndicated product, if you will. But yeah, there's hundreds of these photographers out there. Find one that's in your area for this. You know, there's no chance in the world there isn't a Google photographer somewhere around Florida who would turn up, do all the photography, get the whole 360-degree internals.
I love that.
Goes into the mapping, and that's how Google's mapping these products. That's what the photographers are trying to do.
And to be honest, I mean, I've learned something here then today, because that is a great takeaway and something I didn't know about. But yeah, we'll definitely make a note of that.
I've known about that for months. No, I'm just kidding. I had no idea.
I might call them up and see if they want to come around here. Do some hoovering at the same time. Sorry,
I just wanted to point out, over the summer when we were in the Seattle, Tacoma, Washington area, I went into a store called the Metropolitan Market. And if you go to metropolitan-market.com, metropolitan-market.com, this store on the inside felt very much like Wynn's. They had a really big, really nice deli, lots of rare cheeses, lots of vinegars and olive oils, really nice fresh-made bread. And the look of this place doesn't really say, hey, we've been here for 75 years, we're built on tradition. But if you look at the site, you'll see that they're doing a lot of the things that we recommended that Wynn did, right? They're updating their Facebook and their Twitter pages constantly. They've got recipes up there. The website loads quickly. It looks modern. So I think that this market might be a good idea in terms of, things that Wynn's may want to think about that really illustrate the suggestions we made on the Hangout today.
Cool, I'll take a look at that. So yeah, I mean, the last little bits in terms of aesthetics, if they're going to put, text up at the top, it seems, let me share again 1 minute. Up at the top here, that is very difficult to read for me against the background. I'm not too sure about the logo, but that's kind of a totally different Hangout and a different. I don't know what's your thoughts about the logo, Eric. I mean, they're probably heavily in. I don't know if they've got trucks with that on or what, but they may be so invested with that if they've had it for that long that they might not want to change that.
Yeah, I mean, but it's different than the logo that's on the top and the front of their brick and mortar location, right? So there's not a lot of consistency there. I'm not sure if that's just used on the web. Right. I know that the bags of groceries that we brought home from there, the logo that was printed on them looked like the signage here on the front of their store. So I'm not quite sure.
I mean, you can see it on the site that if that is the signage that they've got up there now, completely different. So we definitely recommend some consistency there.
Yeah.
You always have to weigh up what offline assets the company has, though, before recommending a rebrand, or not a rebrand, but it may be that we want to get the website logo to be in tune with everything else. All right. So code-wise, then let's kind of tuck into the obviously we've talked about some stuff like the copyright, which kind of goes into some things you need to be wary of in terms of Google, but Amon, do you want to, the things that strike me straight away is, I think every single page has the same title tag. So, you're on the meat page. Let's get meat in this page title. And when we talk about the page title, obviously, we're talking about this bit in the code that is between, in the title there. So you can see here the meta description and the meta keywords. But what we're saying is every single page on the website, and there's, I don't know, probably 60 pages, we're telling Google pretty much they're all about Wins Market, but we're not giving it any other kind of indicators about what that specific page is about. So, we might want to get, we would want to get meat in here. I personally still like, and this is where some people have, different opinions, but I would like to see Wins Market, Naples, Florida in there. I don't, if you're a brick and mortar location and you're like this, like a Whole Foods type store in a particular location, there's nothing wrong with trying, getting the city and state kind of location in there, especially on the homepage. I mean, right now it just says Wins Market and nothing else.
Yeah. So generally, the whole website, it looks like it's been ignored for quite a while, that maybe they spent quite a lot on getting it done way back, and, they just haven't got the people to keep it updated. So it's decayed a bit. The code isn't where it should be. The broken links aren't where it should be. It worked once, and things have changed over the years, and it hasn't been kept up, which is a real shame. Williams posted quite a lot of links, of comments generally, that the pages don't have a unique title. It's got canonical issues, so you can get there through the www or without the www. It's probably got HTTP and HTTPS canonical issues as well. There's the broken links that we pointed out, and generally traffic seems quite low. Funny enough, I mean, this is one of those sites where if I was designing this today, or I was recommending a new site today, this is one of the ones where I wouldn't actually design this for a desktop in the first place. I designed this specifically for tablet, because I think that's going to be a significant part of their audience if they get it right. It will still work well on desktop, but I'd actually give it a kind of tablet view.
Okay, but
I really think that would work very well for this site.
Yeah, Naples, Ammon, tends to be a bit of an older audience, so they're dealing with some people that are maybe a bit older. But I know that tablets have become really popular with sort of middle-aged and up people, just because the buttons are big, they're easy to use, and so that might be a great recommendation.
Yeah, and specifically demographically, they've always found that the soccer mums and up are the most likely to have the tablet. It's the most common device for that kind of generation, and increasingly the older people are also grabbing a tablet because it's so much easier. One device doesn't have all these wires, doesn't have everything to plug in. You don't have to worry about all of those other things. So for the older generation, a tablet is actually a lot easier for them than a laptop or a PC.
Great stuff. So, a lot of people, get hung up about, this kind of goes into all the SEO conversations we've had about where Google is going, how smart it's getting. It'd be interesting, and I know that me and you have had our, disagreements, or not disagreements, but kind of conversations about this, Amon, about URLs. I think it's important to discuss. Like, Google's going to know, or code-wise, and not, address-wise, and from a lot of different citations, Google's going to know that this is a deli in Naples, right? So we don't need to kind of plaster or stuff Naples in there, unnecessarily. It's going to know from lots of different citations and sources that this is a deli, physical brick and mortar place in Naples. But what in terms of like this is a page about the meat department, right? is there anything URL-wise, and obviously I'm just talking about the page name itself, is there anything else that you would do to this page name, for example, Amon? I know we've got different opinions, but what would you say? And this goes to also, when we're talking about the bakery section. Do we put a Naples in here and call it naplesbakery.html? Because there's nothing in the domain name, and are we leaving all the? I guess what I'm saying is, are we leaving all the work on the content and the page title and the meta description, or do we actually put the word Naples in here?
We've got the full address, of course, in the header on every single page. So to an extent, considering it's visibly there in the page, I don't think that's an image. No, that's text. We've got every page optimized for the full address. So I wouldn't worry about that necessarily too much, especially because Google Local is going to be driving an awful lot of traffic in the kinds of searches that people will do to find this. When you search for butcher or baker or deli, those are the kind of things where Google wants more local results anyway. So automatically you're tending to get a radius rather than the best delis in the world, because that's not what people will usually be wanting. What does worry me is you go to the meat page, it's a very small page. This is a department of a store that's been around for a long time. It's got a proud history. They're really only sort of touching on things. I'd really like to see a thing on their approach to the butchery trade, to the meat trade, what makes for good meat. I'd like some in-depth things then on particular what's good this season. I'd want more pages than just one page about the meat. This is an important thing for them, and I don't think they're doing very much to showcase anything of their skill and talent in this area. There's nothing that's screaming out knowledge here.
Yeah. I definitely agree. So not enough content. I mean, it just looks like it's been added on as a kind of an afterthought in terms of marketing instead of a living, breathing extension of their brand and their store.
Carlos, when we met with him, I think we really helped them kind of see the light, because pretty much all we talked to him about was extending the feeling and the essence of what we felt when we were in the store onto the web, and they really resonated with that message. I think maybe a lot of the people that had approached them in the past about doing work on their website just kind of talked about responsive this and code that, and I think they're very cognizant and aware of how long they've been in business and what has made them successful, and I think that's why they're interested in working with us.
Yeah. So not only is the title, the meta description as well is exactly the same on every page. So yeah, I mean those are key ways to kind of let obviously the content is going to let them know, but it would be good to have individual unique descriptions on each page as well.
One thing that I wanted to point out as good, because I like to focus on some of the positives as well. When we're in the beer and wine section, the second paragraph there, if wine selection proves too extensive, wine steward Ted Janowitz is on hand to aid in finding the perfect accompaniment. That's the kind of thing we do want to know. It's personal. It's bringing up expertise. The whole thing of going into a store rather than just ordering online. But they've also got his phone number. You can call up this guy and ask about the perfect wine to go with your meal. That is great.
He might have retired. He might have retired though, Ammon, in like 1948.
This site hasn't been updated since the 90s. It spent 40 years just doing this job. Is he still alive?
Yeah.
So yeah, I really hope that this is up to date. But I do like this. But where's the picture of Ted? Where's the picture of him expertly doing what he does? You know, this is the one where an image of him doing a wine tasting, or a video of him doing a wine tasting, or a short presentation on, you know, pick a really popular meal in the area, pick something that's iconically, you know, a Florida dish, and then him talking about 3 different wines that can go with it according to what season it is and stuff like that. Perfect. That's what really makes that extra connection.
Yeah, I think some kind of either wine tasting events as well, or, you know, cheese and wine, or whatever. They could do something that really is different that not many other people probably are doing. You know, you always get, when you go into these Whole Foods type, you know, you always get somebody coming up and saying, do you want to taste this, and would you like to taste this coffee and taste this? But, you know, doing it as an actual, you know, promoted event where we've got some new wines in coming, you know, and actually promoting it on the website and promoting it on Facebook, and then those people will re-engage and say what a great time they have.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, that's the kind of thing where that Facebook page or your Twitter stream could be promoting those things. You've got a tasting event, mention this code, and you get your free taster.
Yeah. So do you want to keep on this one, or do you want to quick look at the other one that we had mentioned?
Should we have a look at the other one? We've got 20 minutes to really sort of dig in.
Okay, this one, Eric, do you want to, while I bring it up, do you want to just give a quick prelim on how good Wendy is in contacting people?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. So this is Ford's Garage. This is a restaurant here in the area, and I was not aware of this, but they've expanded now. They've got, I knew they had 2, now they have 4 locations in the area, and they're actually looking to expand nationwide. They just got approval from the Ford's estate, which very rarely does licensing deals like this. And so, yeah, they're looking to go wide. It's a really cool restaurant. They serve primarily burgers and have a bunch of beers on tap. It's kind of like a kind of upscale pub, but they have Model T Fords in front of the store and hanging from the ceiling, and a bunch of automobile memorabilia everywhere. And so, you know, we found out through a friend of a friend that the same restaurant group owns this, and also a couple of other restaurants in the area that are really much more like dining experiences, more so than just places to eat. And so Wendy wrote him an email one day and just said, hey, listen, you know, we really appreciate what you guys do. We love it that there's restaurants like this in our area. In the past, there really was not much like this here, and we appreciate what you guys do. And the owner of the company gave her a call back and scheduled a meeting. And so we're hopeful that we'll be doing some work with these guys as well.
Excellent. This is another one where get a Google photographer in, and they can map out the place, and it's then on maps with an interior view as well. You know, anything that's a place people can go into that's got a decent amount of space, that's exactly the kind of thing you want to do as a first line these days. I love the imagery generally. I think the header showing the little views is very good. Admittedly, I do not want to be under one of those cars hanging from the ceiling, but that's just me.
Yeah, the photos do a good job of representing what the places feel like to be in. They've also got a Mexican establishment. I'm not sure if they're going to kind of build more of those or not, but then they've also got, you know, an Al Capone's pizza place that's got a bunch of Al Capone stuff, and a vault built into the middle of the floor that's got skeletons and Tommy guns in it and stuff like that. So it's very much more like an experience than it is just a restaurant, right? The kids love it, obviously. And back to my original point, the photos are great. They clearly hired someone that knew what they were doing for the photos. Their logos look really pretty good. They've done a good job with the restaurants and the look and feel of the restaurants, but it just hasn't quite carried over to the web. There's some stuff like the animations that I'm not quite liking, and the fonts, and just kind of some of the iconography and stuff that I'm not such a big fan of. And then there's also some issues from an SEO standpoint that I'm sure you guys are going to want to talk about.
Yeah, it's not a terrible website by any stretch. We've seen a lot worse. Could it be better? Definitely. That aside from the SEO stuff, I mean, I agree with you, Eric, about these things. They're just zipping on too quickly. They just, all of them contain so much information, and they just zip on and zip off. either we got to change that animation from a peek in to something else and have some way. I think that it would be better to have a kind of a call out graphic to say, this is the specials, and then have it almost clickable. I don't like that they're trying to display the entire page and have it kind of coming in for 1.5 seconds.
One thing I really don't like is when you go to the menu, you go to the food menu, you select the local one, it then opens a PDF, and it's not been formatted very well. This does not read well on a screen. If you're seeing this on my screen, it's difficult to read.
Yep.
And it goes on and on. Just to get an idea of what's there, it shouldn't be difficult. I should have, top things on the menu straight away on the site, not opening in a PDF. But I think the idea of being able to print a menu, especially if you've got a takeaway restaurant or something like that, is absolutely one of the things you should do. But for the first view of the restaurant, do I want to go there? What do I fancy eating? No, this doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of brainstorming, but I would have some kind of obviously sniffer on there to, if it was if it was a mobile visitor, then don't do this. But if it was a desktop visitor, I would like to have some kind of graphic that, click here for menu, but then opened up into a nice flip. But could still do a really nice designed PDF, but do it as a flip book. I mean, those scripts, you can get a PDF turned into a flip book very, very easily, like within an hour or less of programming. And it gives the person the feeling of being sat down in the restaurant. Everybody's used to opening a menu like that, as a double spread. I mean, it just makes them feel that way, I think. And
funny enough, this kind of comes back to video again. It can work for restaurants, and I've very rarely seen anyone do anything like this. I don't think I've seen it in the restaurant sphere. But have a server from that restaurant, one of the senior servers, read out the menu. Timestamp it by the dish, and when you click on that timestamp, it goes through her actually talking about what's in this dish, and I think that just gives you that experience straight away. Helpful server, friendly. There's what's on the menu, and then you can hear her describe what's on it and how popular it is and stuff like that. And I think it's different. It is memorable.
Cool. Let me share again. So the big peeve I've got, obviously, from SEO. So this, have individualized the page titles, not like the Wins one. So they do have page titles correct on each page. However, I'm obviously not. You can tell that they've. Is this I think this is a Joomla 1 minute. Is it Joomla? This is the one out of there 4 that is not a WordPress one. So this is either a Joomla or a Drupal. I can't remember. But basically, they've configured it wrong. So you get in the index.php in the URL as well. We advise to try to get the URLs. I mean, Amon, do you want to speak a little bit about that? Trying to get the page names as descriptive as possible, but sure, that's just unnecessary, the index.php there.
Yeah, that should never show in the URL. It should always be the default domain name. Shorter is better. And this is the thing we're always, compromising on. In most ways, the shorter a URL is, the better it will rank. Full stop. It's that simple. Shorter URL is better. However, keywords in a URL help. So you always doing a balancing act between adding keywords that add value and that will help people find the page against the fact that shorter is better. So, never do one of these pages that's, fine dining in Florida with burgers, mac and cheese, and all the rest of it, .htm. terrible idea. You've got a URL there which is utterly unusable. People can't parse it very easily. People will email URLs to each other still. We've passed URLs in the comment stream here. Short URLs don't break as easily, so it's always a good idea. But yeah, try and get your major keywords in there if you can. I'm seeing issues with, the doc type declaration isn't quite right in the first place. It's just got doc type HTML, hasn't specified a version, so we're automatically in Quirks mode with that, which will make it harder to design.
Yeah.
The amount of carriage returns and everything in the font, it does look to me very much like an auto-generated site, a dynamic website. The white space is completely unnecessary. They don't seem to be using any sort of minify, but they could reduce a good few bytes off of every page by doing that, which would be a good thing for the users on mobiles.
Guys, from a design standpoint, I'm not really a huge fan of just the 3 locations or 4 locations listed at the bottom of the page in bold. But it is effective, and it's one of the only things that is effective. If people are visiting, a restaurant website, they're typically looking for a menu, a coupon, or an address, right? And so I think, believe it or not, that's one of the few things that I think does work. I'm not a fan of the way it looks. They probably look a lot better if they had it maybe in columns, or maybe had, a little icon for each or something like that. But that's about the only thing that actually works. I think that for me, the rest of the site, it's like everything's moving. Where am I supposed to look? What am I supposed to do? Each menu requires at least 2 clicks to get it open, which I think is tough. The craft beer menu is really, really heavy and doesn't want to open even on our screaming fast bandwidth. And you click on locations, and it's some sort of iframed map of the different locations, which most likely doesn't work on mobile. And so again, I think, coupons, contact, menu, those things got to be really easy for people to get their hands on.
Yeah, I agree with everything you've said there, Harry. I think that, they're trying to use, obviously, a font, so they've got the rights to use the Ford logo, and they're trying to use fonts here that are a little bit similar, or in tune, and I get that, but I don't think that they should then carry these fonts through to call to action buttons. This, to me, is pretty difficult to read at first glance. Maybe because they've done it in all caps in that font, but I think that would be a lot better if it was a little bit more readable.
Yeah. With the 4 locations down at the bottom, I'd rather have seen that as kind of like a 4 split screen arrangement with an image of that actual restaurant next to the address. Just something that immediately draws our eye and makes us think, oh, right, gets rid of that thing of, yeah, you're showing me your best restaurant in all those images at the top. I'm going to go to my local one, and it's going to turn out to look like a garage. It's going to be oily, greasy, and dirty. That's your flagship one. What does the one I'm going to go to look like? And I'd rather have seen that down there to show, look, we're not hiding it. All our restaurants look great.
I like this page. Kind of layout. This. So they seem to have done it different on other pages where they use it. See this font that they're using here for the title. I really like that. Thoughts, Eric?
Yeah, I really like that page. I like the black and white image. I think that looks like what they're trying to portray without needing to use those sort of fonts on the side there.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's nice.
Sorry, Emin. I tell you what, I was just reading William Rock's comments on the page when you asked me for my thoughts, so that's why it took me a minute to reply. But yeah, William, you need a job, dude. You are incredibly knowledgeable. I'm guessing William probably already has a job, but thank you so much for participating, man. William had pointed out that a lot of the pages just don't have enough content on them, and I know you guys are SEO guys and probably have something to say about that.
Oh yeah, he's running all of the tools for us in the background there, and adding so much that it's brilliant.
So I'm just trying to see what I think it is. Joomla Ustream. But so they have canonical issues as well before William gets that in. Basically, what we mean by that is, you know, if you and I think some of our before you all start saying, "Oh, ISOOSI does that as well," I think our agency site gets no love. So I think that we have the same issue, but it's on our to-do list. But yeah, this one is also, so basically when we say it's got canonical issues, you know, first of all, it comes up on the fordsgarage.com, it comes up, you know, dub, and it's better to have it so that it is all consistent, and you can do that obviously with a, what they call a rel canonical tag in the code. Most CMSs just have a checkbox, or there is plugins like, you know, the for WordPress, you know, most plugins kind of, I don't know if Yoast does that or not, but there's plugins that do that anyway.
Guys, William had mentioned that there's another site at fordsgaragefl.com, and it looks like it's a duplicate of this site. I'm guessing that's probably not a good thing.
No.
And the Ford's Garage is the one that actually comes up in the SERPs. Oh no, it's the FL one that comes up in the SERPs.
Yeah, I don't understand why someone would do that. I mean, if they were moving over to a new domain in conjunction with a redesign, then I could understand that, I guess, maybe. But very interesting. We'll have to ask them about it the next time we talk to them.
So 21.
Sometimes people do this by simply, you know, wanting to have all the domain names once they've registered them to protect them from, you know, falling into the wrong hands. They think,
and redirect them.
Might as well point it at the site. But then they don't think of putting the canonicals in there, which they should do, to say this is the version you should use. You're usually better off 301ing, doing a 301 redirect to the correct version from any of the other versions.
Yeah, that's something we'll have to address. Bit of menu sounds good.
But you know, this is one of the sites that they've got the design elements pretty good. I'm not keen on the contact page. It looks great when you first get there. You've got the form, but when you actually click the Our Contacts part, and it is the same with the About, when you go through the About, there's the Our Contacts on the side. It goes straight to your email, and there's nothing telling me that that's an email link. So it's not an expected behavior. So that's the little Our Contacts menu on the right. When you click on one of those links, it goes straight to your email.
Yeah, I mean, as well, I would get off this. I would take away the resume upload from a contact form.
Yeah.
If you're going to have a resume upload, that should be on a careers page.
Yeah.
So, oh yeah, I see what you mean.
If you look on their news page, you can see that they've got a YouTube video up, which is, you know, excellent. Shows they're using other media. I think they've done very well with the photography, very well with the idea of using video. I'd certainly be doing a little bit more generally with social on that regard. This is a business that, funny enough, could use something like a hangout. I think doing a quarterly or a seasonal hangout on what's new on the menu, with the chef talking you through for each of the stores, would be a really nice thing.
Love that.
So, what's your thought? Have you got any thoughts about Joomla versus? Because this, I was just checking. Then this is a Joomla CMS. And anybody that's been coming to us with a Joomla or a Drupal CMS, we've been advising them, if they don't want to, if depending on the budget and depending on the website, for example, if they're doing financial transactions or they're doing something a little bit more secure with, data, for example, HIPAA regulations, then we'll use our own CMS, our kind of proprietary one that we've built, which is all built in ASP.NET. But if the budget's not there, we've been kind of steering most people to WordPress because of its flexibility and the amount of support. Have you got any views on people still using Joomla, Amon, or not really?
It's one of those things, if you've got budget, always go for a custom CMS that is built for you. It does what you want it to do. If you haven't got budget, that's when you're starting to look at the ones that are built for everybody and are going to have a lot of features that you don't necessarily need. They're not going to be ideal for you, but you've got it on a budget. So WordPress is certainly one of the cheapest. There's nothing necessarily wrong with Joomla or Drupal, but they're on a budget, and I think with the look of this site, they've probably got enough budget to consider getting a custom CMS that's built just for them, where everything can have that code that they want to have.
So I think William's mentioning something about the site design at the bottom.
Yeah, it goes back to the same sort of thing that
All right.
we put before. It's got another link there. It's EMCC design this time, but again, there's no real reason that you'd want it there. It's again a live link. It's opening in a new window, but it's a live link that's running, run of site.
Run throughout the website. It's got no follow on it.
No follow. So it's the same issue as the one before, which is why I didn't dig into it this time, because we've kind of already mentioned that.
So I think that's pretty. So as well, these CMSs. I think on with WordPress, Yoast has a kind of a little chat box that says show meta keywords tag. In parentheses, I don't know why you would want to do that on the Yoast plugin. So obviously, they've put that a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but basically what they're saying is there's absolutely zero need for your code to have a meta keywords tagging in 2014.
Keywords tag is so useless. There is only, I know I've said this before, there is only one use for a keywords meta tag, and that is to throw off any competition. If you've got a keyword that you wasted a lot of time on, that seemed like it was going to be good but was a real pain, put it on your keywords tag so that your competitors will try it.
That's probably one right there. Gastropub. That's probably one, right? Or do people search for that? I've never heard of that word. So
they've got every version of dining that they can think of. Fine dining in Fort Myers Burgers, Fort Myers Restaurant, Southwest Florida dining. Yeah, and none of this is doing anything for them except making people download an extra line of code that does nothing.
Yeah, I'm not too sure about super user. He sounds good, whoever he is, super user. This is all kind of generated nonsense as well. There's no need for that. Or the author one, I don't think, for a website like this anyway. Title tag, too long, in my opinion. Trying to do too much. Funnily enough, they've gone with not putting the name of the restaurant in. The Ford, the brand name, which as they build the location up and they build the brand equity, you think a lot of their business would be coming in via people searching for Ford.
Yeah, I've never been a fan of the vertical pipe in titles and things either.
Oh, I love
So
the
use a
pipe.
colon or use a hyphen.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the pipe. I'm not ready to give it up. But anything? I don't think there's anything else that really. I mean, we're up on the hour anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got through two today. 1 minute. Let me get my mugshot back on. So yeah, any closing thoughts, either of you, Eric, about what we've seen on those two and what they need to, besides hiring ISOOSI to do them, to redo them and to kind of help them with their marketing? Any kind of broad stroke thoughts?
You know, I would share a thought that's not really related to the two websites that we talked about today, which is just about our approach to meeting and creating relationships with clients. What tends to work best for us is a very soft sort of approach. We love helping people. We love what we do. And we share, feedback like this all the time with people in the hopes that whether they hire us or not, it leads to better marketing for them and they make more money, especially the businesses that we love. And that's always been our approach. We don't, it's not really sort of hard pressure sales tactics. Wendy doesn't call people and tell them we provide SEO services and we would love to sit with you and discuss your, we're much more likely to say, hey, listen, we do this for a living and we notice this, this, and this. We recommend you fix those things and it's going to help you out a lot. And we hope it helps you. We want to see you stick around. We like your business. And people almost always call back if they don't have someone in-house or a way to do it themselves. And if they have some marketing budget, they always call back. So, lead with your best foot forward and just try and help people, and you're going to build a successful business. That would be my closing thought.
How many times have those conversations happened as well, Eric, when it's been you and Wendy kind of either in the shop, you're actually out and you're purchasing stuff from either their shop and it comes up in just a natural conversation. Oh, we can help you with that. Where they've kind of posed an issue that they've had or something. It's just been a natural conversation, hasn't it?
Yeah, we do it all the time, and I won't tell you that it always leads to business. Some people are like, oh yeah, well whatever, thanks. And some people are like, well, who the hell are you to tell me what to do? But other people really appreciate it, and we're sincere about it. We like to see small businesses. Carlos, you and I built a small business, and you've built several, and it just, we believe in it, and we like to see people succeed. And when we lead with the conversations that way, it just tends to work out much better for us.
Cool. Amon?
Yeah, I think in both cases there are really good potential businesses there that are just maybe not quite understanding what they could be doing. The second one is certainly further along. The first one definitely has a foot in the past. It's like somebody once was committed to the web and that person has left or something since, or that a design agency got involved with the company, but just the attention's gone. The idea of an out-of-date logo on the website that doesn't match the rest of the branding just really tells you that the website has slipped from awareness altogether. Second one, a lot more savvy about image, but there's still a lot more they could do, and you've got to embrace the technology these days. In a lot of cases, particularly with these kind of businesses, local businesses, the web is more and more becoming a real driver of traffic, especially through tablets and cell phones. And people out, where can I get a burger? Where can I get some fresh food? Where can I do this and that while on the move? That really does help them out. Having a good local social media presence, engaging the community, becoming part of the community as the community are interacting on Facebook, as they're interacting on Twitter, being part of the community online as well as physically there in the street. These are things that are more and more important for local businesses these days.
Cool.
Ultimately, I wish them both great success. I hope they do come over to ISOOSI because there's so much that can be done, and it would be a pleasure to be able to help companies like this. And a special thanks to William Rock for the general comments and digging in the background. Yeah,
thanks, William. A few closing words. I think on all these hangouts, we've kind of come down to consistency as well as so the few takeaways I've got making the websites instead of standalone kind of isolated marketing vehicles, which is kind of what it looked like these were put out there as, unintentionally. No, it's always about time, isn't it, for small businesses, and it's all about if something's not easy to use as a CMS, it's not going to get updated. But however it's happened, and they've been isolated, and really the website should be an extension of your brand, an extension of your marketing, and it should kind of circle around. So if you strike up relationships on the website or have something going on the website, that's got to bring people through the doors, and then you want them to re-engage again on the web and say what an experience it was, whether that's on Facebook or on your blog or wherever that might be. So make the websites kind of an extension of your overall marketing strategy. I think for Ford's is definitely doing that and much more in a better place. But they could do with a new CMS and a few other things. But yeah, great chatting to you guys about it. Thanks so much, Aman, as always. And tune in. Thanks, Eric, as always. Again, and tune in next week, next Tuesday, 3 p.m. And we'll hopefully have Mr. Slough. Oh no, he's at PubCon again next week. So Bill will not be with us again next week, but we'll all be here at 3 p.m. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everyone.